What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football Focus 1 with your host, Diamond Dan. So today we're going to be talking about the AFC South draft classes. So first let's start off by talking about the Texans, but before that I want to kick it off by talking about the most controversial coach / GM in the league right now, Bill O'Brien. Alright, now Billy O'Brien and the Texans sent their first round pick to Miami last year for Laremy Tunsil, the tackle from Miami. Now, according to Pro Football Focus, Tunsil posted a 75.8% overall grade in 2019, which ranked Tunsil as the 17th best offensive tackle, right, for the 2019 year. Now, Houston still decided to make Tunsil the highest paid tackle in the game right now when he ranked 17th best overall in the league. All right. Now, they did this because they couldn't let him walk for nothing. What I mean by that is they lost in the first round of playoffs last year because they thought they were going to be Super Bowl champs or, make a long, deep run. But in all reality, they lost in the first round of the playoffs and they gave up 2 first-round picks to get Tunsil and Kenny Stills. So they couldn't just let him walk, or Texans fans would have wanted blood. Now, with the Texans' second-round pick, they drafted Ross Blacklock, an explosive athletic D tackle out of TCU who has the ability to develop into something really special. Now, as a prospect, he lacks the pass rush moves and technique to make him an impact player right now, but he has a lot of talent and a lot of skill, and a really good physical skill set, right? Now, he still needs to be developed, like I was saying, but Blacklock is quick, explosive, and has a lot of upside. So overall, like the pick. Now, after taking Blacklock, the Texans drafted Jonathan Greenard, defensive end out of Florida. Now, this was that pick on TV where you saw Bill O'Brien pissed and yelling at the TV. Now, the reason supposedly he was pissed was because the Lions backed out of a trade, which means that Billy O wasn't too keen on taking Greenard at this spot. But when you watch Greenard, you can see that the dude can play, right? He flashes in the run game and the passing game. He's forceful with his hands to see Stone's offensive lineman at the point of attack. And even though he isn't the fastest edge rusher, he really knows how to bend and get around the corner and really harass the QBs, right? He beat up on every SEC tackle last year for the whole 2019 year. So Greenard does have some serious potential. Now, after that, the Texans finished off by selecting some more vanilla players and people middle of the pack with their next 3 picks. And because there was no real starter taken in this draft, and because they reached on some certain talent, I'm going to give the Texans an overall grade of a C+. Now, the AFC South is a division who has a new top dog every year, right? It feels like every year in the AFC South, it's a crapshoot on who's going to take the division. Now let's talk about a team who had a really amazing draft and is usually pretty dominant in the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts traded their first-round pick for DeForest Buckner, the defensive end out of the 49ers. Now, overall, I like this trade because it filled a big team need for the Colts. Now, Buckner has proved that he can dominate when he's healthy. Buckner will be a difference maker for this Colts team day one. All right, so him along with Justin Houston and the rest of the defensive linemen on the Colts, they're going to make some noise this year. Now, with the Colts' second-round pick, they selected Michael Pittman Jr., the big USC wide receiver. Now, Pittman is the son of the old beast running back from Tampa Bay back in the day, Michael Pittman. Now, Pittman Jr. stands over 6'5" and has insane ball skills, all right? Pittman is probably the best jump ball specialist in this whole draft. Now, Pittman Jr. also had some good underneath and intermediate route running ability. I saw it from him in college, which is going to make him a weapon for the Colts right away. All right, so the Colts finally got a big receiver that can actually run some routes. All right, so again, I think he's going to have a good year, an explosive year. Then the second round, the Colts also selected Jonathan Taylor, aka Mini Saquon Barkley. All right, now he might not be able to catch the ball like Saquon, but he runs the ball like Saquon. All right, Taylor possesses 4.3 speed, he hits like a truck, and has great athleticism. Now, Taylor running behind Quentin Nelson and that Colts offensive line, wow, it's going to be trouble for the rest of the NFL. And I promise you this, if they make him the lead back and they give him the bulk of the carries, 20 to 25 carries a game, he will lead the NFL in rushing. All right, this kid is explosive and a hard old school runner. Then in rounds 3 and 4, the Colts had another 2 really good picks by selecting Julian Blackmon, the safety out of Utah, and Jacob Eason, the quarterback out of Washington. Now, Blackmon is a solid safety who will be able to match up with tight ends and bigger receivers right away. Now, with a little bit of work, I think he'll be one of the Colts starting safeties right away. All right. Now, Eason, on the other hand, has a cannon for an arm. Now, he's one of those quarterbacks that's going to flourish under the simple play-action schemes with simple reads. Now, Eason had trouble in college when he was doing his route progressions. But if he could be under center in the play-action scheme with the right teacher, I think he can be good for the Colts. All right. Now, Eason's 6'6" with a cannon for an arm. So it's possible he's starting for the Colts by the end of the year if Rivers decides to struggle. Then in round 6, the Colts got some more solid late round talent. One of the best 6th round picks was Robert Windsor, a big D tackle out of /DN out of Penn State. Now Windsor's built solid, right? But he needs to get bigger if he's going to play consistently on the inside of the line, and if he's going to play on the outside, then he needs to drop a little bit of weight, all right? But Windsor has a serious motor. He plays powerful. He's agile, and he will be a good secondary pass rusher for the Colts on day 1. Now to sum up the Colts draft, they had a very good draft. They got great talent with their first 3 picks and still having one of the best drafts without a first-round pick. All right. So here, Colts fans, overall great draft. I'm going to give you guys an overall grade of an A-. Next up, let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars had a lot of firepower in this draft because of the Jalen Ramsey and AJ Bouye trades. Now, with the Jaguars' 2 first-round picks, they selected 2 really talented prospects in C.J. Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida, and Kayvon Chase on the DN out of LSU. Now, Henderson is probably the most athletic corner in this draft, and also one of the best man-cover corners in this draft. Now, he's coming off a down year here in 2019, but he really has the tools to be truly an elite corner in this league, right? Especially if he gets his mind right and he has the right coach behind him. Now, with Chase on, he's one of the most physically gifted pass rushers in this draft, hands down. And he has the ability to truly be an elite pass rusher in his respective position. Now, I will say this, though. I'm not a huge fan of Chason. He didn't run at the NFL Combine, and I believe the reason was because he's going to run slow. All right? And also, his lack of production in college is alarming to me. Now, I've seen prospects like Deion Jordan in the past who is more physically gifted than Chason, right? Get drafted off their skill set alone in the top 5. And then they end up being NFL busts, okay? Just because you're physically gifted doesn't mean you can play football, right, at the next level. Now, I get why the Jaguars took him there because he has crazy upside, but just remember, Jags fans, he could be truly elite, but at the same time, he's far from a sure pick. Then the second round, the Jags hit gold with wide receiver Laviska Shenault out of Colorado. Now, Shenault was a top 18 pick on some people's boards, but because of his injuries, it drove him into the mid-second round. But make no mistake, Shenault possesses elite physical tools that you cannot teach. Right? Since 2018, Shenault has led the NCAA in broken tackles for all wide receivers, which is an extremely impressive stat. All right? So when Shenault is healthy, he can be an elite receiver for the Jaguars. So overall, this was a draft steal. The Jags then came back and took the big defensive tackle, Devon Hamilton, out of Ohio State with the 73rd overall pick. Now, Hamilton can play all positions along D-line, and he's an elite run stuffer. He will be solid for the Jags team rebuild that they're doing right now with that front 7. Now, he needs to work on his pass rushing skills, and if he develops those skills, he will be a serious all-around problem for a lot of NFL offenses. The Jaguars then selected Josiah Scott, the scrappy little cornerback out of Michigan State. Now, Scott's nickname was the Gnat in college, right? Due to his pesky, persistent coverage talent and his tough playing style, right? And with the later picks too, they also took some developmental people, Shaq Quarterman and Daniel Thomas, the safety. So overall, took some other guys as well. Now, overall, the Jaguars drafted 3 elite talents, all right? And that could be all pros on day 1 with their first 3 picks. Now, they also selected some players who can be role players as well, right? Now, for that alone, I have to give them an overall good draft grade. Now, I do believe those players are somewhat of a gamble with Chason and Henderson, which is not my cup of tea, but still, getting 3 possible all-pro talents with your first 3 picks in the draft is worth the gamble at times, okay? So overall, I'm going to give the Jags an overall draft grade of an A-. Good draft. Now let's review the Tennessee Titans draft. Now, in round 1, the Titans selected Isaiah Wilson, the massive offensive tackle out of Georgia who's 6'8", 360 pounds. Now, Wilson reminds me of Trent Brown. He's going to be a beast in the run game in the NFL, all right? And he can also play guard if needed. Right? Even at 6'8", he can play guard. So some people considered him a reach at this point, but at the same time, when you think about it, the Titans lost Jack Conklin, right? The guy who set the tone in the run game for them prior. So again, it was a hole to fill, so I get why they did it. But with Wilson, they're going to have another road grader blocking for my favorite running back in the league, Derrick King Henry. All right. So again, overall, decent pick, like the pick, reach or not. The Titans then came back in round 2 and drafted, to me, hands down the best corner in the draft in Christian Fulton, right? Or at least the number 2, hands down. So Fulton was the 12th overall ranked prospect on PFF's board, and the Titans got him with pick 61, all right? Wow. So now you're probably going to ask yourself, how did they get him at that if that's the case? The reason was because Fulton fell in the draft, because in 2017 he used fake pee on a drug test. I mean, now if that's Fulton's worst issue, then I'll take him, all right? We're all young at one point. We all make mistakes, all right? Fulton led the nation with the highest forced incompletion rate on outside coverage, which is a very impressive stat. And Fulton consistently wins at the catch point, all right? So just watch his tape and you'll see. Now, Fulton was, in my opinion, one of the biggest steals in this draft, all right? So overall, great pick, Titans. The Titans then came back in the third round and they muddied the water a little bit by taking running back Darrynton Evans, the speedster out of App State. Now, since releasing Dion Lewis, the Titans have needed a third down back, and Evans is that for them, okay? So he's a home run hitter in the run game, but they still could have got him in, I think, 2 rounds later, right? So it was a little bit of a reach for this guy. Now, after that, the Titans took more players that will struggle to start, in my opinion, and even probably make the team. So as much as I like their second-round pick, I have to hold the Titans accountable for not sticking to their draft board and reaching on too many players. So because of this, I'm going to give the Titans an overall grade of a C, all right, for the 2020 draft. All right, guys, so thank you for turning to the video. Next, we're going to be tackling the NFC South. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment at the bottom if you want to debate or you like the video. Also, hit the likes up button. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace.